This video is just to demonstrate some of the features that we have built into this this home. I'm going to start by showing the very simple function of home entry, I guess, first, where we generally will have a home and away keypad at the front door, which is here. You can see that the house is in away mode right now. Green means that's the mode that it's in. These are lighting scenes as well at the same time. So when you come home, you would simply push home, and then when you do that, certain lights turn on through the house. It depends on the time of day. So right now it's bright out, so there's not going to be a whole lot of light that turns on. We have lights in this hallway that have turned on. You can have it set so that the music turns on in certain zones. You know, TVs turn on, whatever you want to do, just by simply pushing that button. And then as we enter the house, the main living area, this house isn't, they're not quite moved in yet, so we can see that there's still construction materials hanging out. But as we enter, we now see the main central keypad, which we've demonstrated in other demo videos. Now we can see, if we can see close enough down on the bottom here, the house is in home mode. It's pretty bright here. We can see that some of the exterior lights are on, and to turn them off, simply click the room. Let's turn these off here. To turn rooms on, we're in the kitchen area, so we'd simply click the kitchen and we can see the lights have turned on in this area. We've built just some beginning customization as far as activities go onto the home page here. So if the customer wants to listen to the radio in the kitchen area, we'd simply push that button, and there's actually three independent zones in here. There's a zone in the kitchen here. This is going to be their eating area, and then in the back there's a sort of a living room type thing with a TV back there. So all three zones turn on. In order to control the volume with all three speakers, we simply just push these buttons. To turn them all off, push power. So this is the room, the other third room in the kitchen area. It's called the hearth room. It's kind of the, like I said, is the living room type area. So another way that we're controlling these zones is with an RTI remote, which is just a simple remote, no LCD on this one. But the functions are all straightforward. If you want to watch TV, which is on in the kitchen area right now, we just simply push TV 1 and the TV will come on, switch to TV 1. Speakers come on in the ceiling to TV 1. If you want to switch to TV 2, simply push TV 2. Now you've got TV 2 playing. If you want to turn it off, power. I'll turn this zone off. So one of the other favorite activities that we have here is, so if you're in the kitchen area and you decide that you want to go downstairs and watch a movie in the theater, or the kids might want to go downstairs and watch a movie, we just have a button here that says watch movie in the theater. So that the projectors in the theater sometimes can take a while to warm up. So this is turning on the lights in the theater room and turning the projector on and warming it up. So then when you go downstairs, it's somewhat ready to go. So now as we walk downstairs, the lights have been turned on. And see if the projector's warmed up yet. It might not be. Yeah, it is. Now we walk in and the movie's already playing. So the movies come on. This one's in 3D. I haven't switched it over. So as you come in to the theater, like I said, the lights are already on. But as you walk in, we have a keypad here, lighting keypad, and we just hit movie. And so what that'll do is over, I think we have it set to over 5 minutes. It will slowly dim these lights. So it gives everyone time to come in and sit down you know, get their drinks, whatever they're gonna do, and then as they start watching the movie, the lights will dim and they probably won't even notice it. So now the lights are totally out. We also have a master keypad in this room, if it'll focus in on it here. It's tough in the low light. So now we can see this is actually controlling the Blu-ray player, so we can pause it and play it and do all the menu functions that you want.
You got to obey the rules.
Now in here we also have a few other scenes, so like say bathroom break. So if you push this, it's going to turn the lights on all the way out to the bathroom, and then you come back and you either hit off, or you'd hit movie if you want it to slowly dim again. Okay, so some of the other features now that I've got some better lighting down here in the theater, I thought I'd show some other features of the keypad from here instead. So if we have, this is the home page showing that we're in the theater and we're watching the Blu-ray, or not the home page, but the theater Blu-ray page. If we go back to the home page, it's the same as the one up in the kitchen. We have, so for example, lighting control again. We can see that the lights are on here in the theater. If we look at zoom in on a particular zone, see that the lights are on the theater, simply click it. You can see the lights dim, hopefully, in the background. Let's see. To turn them back on again. And we can see the lights are on in the, this is called the games room, the foyer, and the hallway. If we want to turn the whole floor off, just hit lower off. That'll turn all the lights off in this floor. Same thing with all the other floors. We can turn all the lights on quickly. You can see them turn on the graphic, or off again. Exterior lights on. Turns all the lights on outside the house. Exterior off. And back down here, this is the top floor. All on and all off. We don't have every single zone covered with lighting control here. So you can see the ones that aren't coming on. We don't have control of those rooms. This one in here in particular. And then we have we'll have scenes built into this. We haven't added those in here yet, but we'll have other scenes built into each floor as well. And then we can see, so that's lighting control. Then we can see climate control. This house has 5 air handlers, so 5 furnaces to cover the house. So we designed this to make it relatively straightforward to see what the temperatures are in the different areas and what it's set to. So if we want to control this main floor, this is main floor east is what we're calling it. We select it and the graphic changes to show that it's selected, and then up here in the control section it changes as well. So main west, main east, basement, top east, top west, for example. And as you do that, so if we want to control the main east, we can just switch this, and now we can see the temperature is at 23. It's set to 22, so cooling should come on. We're set to cool. To change it over to heat mode, simply select heat, and then the graphic here changes to a red color instead of a light blue or whatever you want to call that, just to show that it's set to 17 heat. You can also see it up here with just a quick graphic to show. You can see, if you look at this quick, you can see that one zone is actually heating, the other ones are cooling. Switch it back to cool here. So that's our way of controlling the climate here to make it simple for the customer instead of walking around the house controlling each individual thermostat. What else do we have? Weather is here. That's pretty straightforward. Audio video, like I showed earlier. But let's turn on a few zones. Let's go games room, bell. You can hear it turning on behind us. Let's go theater. Let's go theater Apple. Okay, so now that we have a bunch of stuff turned on, I just pause it for a sec to turn on some different things in different zones here. We can see if we zoom in here on say the main floor, we can see that in the main floor, one area, which is the kitchen, hearth, eating area, is all on Bell TV2. The great room is actually on radio. And then, what is this one on? Sorry. And yeah, right next door is also on radio as well. The pool, the pool area is on Bell TV1, and so on and so on. As you go through the house, you can see different things are on in different zones. So this is one page that you can see what's on in every single zone in this home. And then if we want to turn any of it off, we hit the power button down here. This is the master power page, so it's virtually the same screen, but instead of controlling sources, it controls the power by turning off the zones instead of turning them on, basically. So in order to turn individual zones off, we can simply click on them. That'll turn, that was the room right next door here, that'll turn that off. Or we can turn a whole floor off if we want. We can just hit lower floor off, and that'll turn everything off on that floor. Or alternatively, we can just turn the whole house off by clicking all off. That'll go through and turn everything off in the whole house. So that's our power for audio video in the house. So just showing the very similar functionality on the iPad as we have on all the keypads, but advantage of the iPad obviously is it's we can carry it around, and we can also use it remotely from any location in the world. So we can carry this with us and have it as a control system for our home and see what's going on in the house while we're away, and control heat, lights, and that sort of thing. So this is all pretty much the same thing. Go to lighting, we can turn the lights on in this room here, and click them again to turn them off. Same thing with audio video control. So if we want to control this room, select this room, and let's turn the radio on. It'll take a second. It takes a minute for the amp to turn off. Sorry, it's off right now, so it takes a minute for it to turn on, and then once it's on, it's relatively quick. Or if we want to turn the TV on in this room, switch it over to the TV. And same idea. We can see what's on in the house, turn them off. Climate control, same deal. Controlling the different areas, virtually the same, just it's on the iPad instead. So this is coming into the pool area. And here we've got our remote sitting here. And we have our TV. And from way over here, this is quite a ways away from the equipment rack, which is where these remotes have to talk to the gear to turn it on and off. Again, to control it, simply hit TV1. Slowly turn the TV on. TVs can take some time to warm up, of course. There we go. So in here we've got access to all the same stuff as through the rest of the house. Difference in here is we have 3 sets of ceiling speakers throughout the ceiling, all on individual amps. There's quite a bit of power to power this big open space. I'm not going to be able to tell how it sounds, so I'll switch over to radio. I'm not going to be able to tell how it sounds over this, but it does sound pretty full. And again, turn it off. Power. So we can control this from anywhere in this area quite easily. All of this stuff can obviously be controlled in the same way as it does on the master keypad. It's up using an iPad or iDevice or an Android device at the same time. We have full Wi-Fi coverage through the whole house with repeaters. So another feature is the doorbell, which is an intercom system as well. So we can hear, hopefully we can hear that the audio is on in the home right now. So what happens when we ring the doorbell? Hopefully we can hear that. So what happens there is it turns the zones that we have selected to play the doorbell through, mutes them, pauses the TV if you're watching TV, plays the doorbell, and then goes back, switches the TVs to the front door camera, and then goes back to the previous setting. So then we can have the doorbell, if it rings, we can hear, the customer can hear it in the backyard, the pool, wherever they are, and see who's at the front door, decide if they want to actually go answer it or not. So this is the scene keypad. We have throughout the house. There's instead of having switches and dimmers all in the areas, so we'll have instead of cluttering up this wall with say 5 or 6 independent switches or dimmers, we just have a simple keypad on the wall, which is scene based, can be customized. And so, for example, if we hit this button, this will turn on all the lights in this area to as bright as to the bright setting, so all on kind of thing. And turn them off, push off, and it'll slowly turn them off. And then we also have the different scenes, which we'll customize as a customer wants to. Especially in the winter time when lighting's used a lot more often, we'll adjust the scenes accordingly. These are just different lighting scenes, and then off again. So in all the audio-only zones in the home, we just use a simple keypad for control to control the music in that zone. So there's lots of these throughout the house where we have audio but no TV, so we don't need a remote control. So these are fairly straightforward. We just hit the on button. It's going to turn whatever source they use the most, which in this case we have the radio set, and scan through the stations. This trim plate isn't on here yet. Or we can select different music. We have, in this house, we have a couple Sonos players. So this is one of the Sonos. And this, go to the next Sonos unit. You can also listen to the TV, whatever source is playing on the TV, and change the channels. Just in case you're watching something in one room and you want to listen to it in the other as well. And obviously also volume, and then off. So pretty straightforward. This is the equipment rack that controls the whole house for automation and audio, video, and that sort of thing. We're still working here, so it's not quite put away and clean yet. This whole thing is on wheels, and it slides right back into the wall when we're done with it. Just a few things. So this is all the thermostats through the house. They're all set in the equipment, or they're all situated in the equipment room because it's controlled through the automation system. And then the wires go out to remote locations to all the different HVAC zones in order to read the temperature and relay it back down to the thermostats here. So then we don't have to have these sitting on the walls in the different locations through the house. Just makes it a little cleaner and a little easier to use on the automation side of things. This is a shot showing the back of the rack. Again, we're still working here, so it's not quite cleaned up. But we can see it's all wire management, so all pretty good through the system. I like to try and keep it relatively clean. Now when we're done, we're going to leave. You see there's some lights on. I turned on some lights just to show. But as we're going to leave the house on any one of these keypads, we can see that it's in home mode currently, so as we're leaving, we just hit away. And all the audio video turns off in the house, and lights will turn off after a period of time. We have it set to, I think, 2 minutes currently, just for testing. It'll also obviously light a path out to the front yard if it's dark out or not. And then you're ready to leave, and the home's in away mode, so then we can have certain things like HVAC will turn to an economic level, that sort of thing. There we go. There's all the lights turning off now.